Yeah, well, I love that. You know, we're all individuals, all right, and we all got potential to sort of be musicians and bring our individual out to the people.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
and you know, I think you know, how lovely is it that honestly you get 1,000 different people, right, and we'll all be different a little bit. You know, different artists. You know, if we did our thing on stage,
Mm-hmm.
you know, wherever it was.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that's beautiful as well. Like I say, we've got a world where we're all the same in many ways. Like we've said before, we kind of share the same history of the world we live in. You know, like what's going on with the shutdown and the news and everything. We share all this.
Yeah, that was the global.
You know, but like we all got our own personal history. You know, our own personal past.
Yeah.
You know that, and we share the same thing as most of us got the same senses. Like here, we hear the same sounds. You know, and we see the same things. You know, it don't matter if you're French and I was English, say, and we saw a tree there,
Yeah.
we'd still see the same thing.
Yeah.
So we're all the same.
Yeah.
Don't matter what colour you are, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we all got an individual personality, which is kind of different, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like whatever my past was, or whatever your past was, kind of makes you who you are a little bit. And like I say, we do share the outside world past a little bit, you know, like big things going on. We, you know, like Twin Towers, like I've said before, whatever. That's everyone's memory.
Yeah.
And so we are kind of the same, you know, a little bit, but different.
Yeah.
In many ways. And like we're, you know, like for instance, if we're drawing a picture, we'll all draw a different picture, you know. We all got a different way of drawing. You know, and I find that fantastic in a funny way.
Yeah.
That we're all artists, really, you know. And some people will talk about music another week, you know, because we're meant to be talking about appreciation, but
yeah,
I've lost the plot.
He's lost the plot, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to find the plot. You've got to retrieve the plot.
Yeah, it's because I was talking too much.
It's okay, mate. Don't worry.
You know.
Yeah, but it's just because you're passionate about appreciation, you know.
I think it's a good thing to talk about, you know, and I just think it's something interesting to talk about. As I say, I've not.
I think it's just a friendly reminder.
Yeah.
That we all need sometimes. One of those things, you know. It's one of those topics where it's like we all need that friendly reminder sometimes, you know. As even like the most positive person in the world has the occasional bad day too. It's just that reminder. It's just that reminder of count your blessings, because that old saying, another old saying, I think that makes it 3 in a row for this week's episode.
That's too many. That's too many for one night.
Yeah. And I've forgotten it now. But yeah, you get the drift of what I was trying to say. Yeah. I've lost the plot now too.
Dear, that was a very good time tonight,
Yeah.
I appreciate when things go right.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
You don't make mistakes, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, like I appreciate food.
Yeah.
You know, how beautiful is food, you know. You know, and how much how much does this planet grow, you know, like different foods, you know. All the different spices that you've got.
Right.
And everything, you know, and all the different choices we've actually got.
Yeah.
I mean, when you go to the supermarket or whatever, I can't believe how many different things there are, you know, how many different fruits there are. You know, like a bag of crisps, are they good for you?
Yeah.
I think everything sounds bad for you. Crisps, alcohol, they're trying to kill us.
They're trying to kill us, mate.
They're trying to kill us.
Poison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goodness. Okay. it's better to try to eat more natural and organic if you can in this day and age, to be honest, you know. Try to, you know, if you can afford to, you know. I understand that the average person might not always be able to afford to in every aspect, and that's fair enough. But you have to try your best to try and eat, you know, try and look after yourself, especially in this day and age, you know, because a lot of food has a lot of shit in it, you know. So you have to try your best to try and eat as clean as possible, you know. It's almost virtually impossible to a degree today, if you see what I mean, you know. But you know, they put all sorts of stuff in the food. You never know what is, you know, all the, you know, you got, you know, a long list of ingredients. You don't know, you know, don't always know exactly everything that's on the back of there. If you see what I mean, you know.
There's always one little writing in it like that.
Well, you'll know most of it. You might get an understanding of what most of it is, but there might be one or two things that you've never heard of, and it's like you're not really sure what that is, but you still eat it. If you see what I mean, it's like, you know.
But have you seen, like, you know, like you go and look at the writing on these sweets and things,
yeah,
these packets, and you can't see it. It's so tiny, little
yeah,
ingredients. You know?
Yeah, minuscule.
Yeah, you know.
Beef gelatin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pork.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to appreciation, you know, like I was saying before that, before I lost my train of thought, it's just a daily reminder of tomorrow is not always promised. So appreciate today. Do the most, make the most of every day. Try to accomplish as much as you want every day. You know, set goals for yourself. You know, just know that time is, you know, no one knows when their time's gonna come. You know, we all hope for a long life, and we all want a long life, and we all pray for a long life. You know, in some cases.
Some people know when their time's gonna come.
Yeah, I think they do.
If they plan it.
I think they do.
Well,
but it's funny because, like, being a healthcare professional, I've worked in settings where I've been involved in cases where there were people like on end of life, if you see what I mean. And it's like, it's funny because, like, some people will be really calm and really relaxed and really like ready, you know kind of like the time's coming, and like, you know, it's, you know, they're gonna go soon kind of thing, because they're just like dying of old age kind of thing. They're just getting old, and you know, whatever. And then you got some people that, you know, are really like anxious and really, you know, like, you know, a bit scared. If you see what I mean, like worried. You can see the expressions on their face, like some of them like worried and like, you know, like.
Yeah, you know, I mean, like again, you know, I think people have got to, you know, it's another subject really, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Come over their fears, you know, and like learn to love the spiders. Learn to, you know, do you know what I mean? You've got to learn to love everything, you know.
Yeah.
And I think like some people haven't done that.
Yeah.
You know, when they get old, they're still scared of dying and still scared of death. But some people, like for instance myself, I think that I'll come to terms with it, you know, and I know that I'm going to die. I feel I've lived quite a while now, you know, and I think I'm quite happy to go, really, you know, in a funny way. You know, do you know what I mean? Because it'd be a break, you know. It's hard work, like, you know, it's harder.
It's hard work.
You know, especially as you get older, you've got to think about it. When you get older, your body's getting weaker, and it, like, if you're going up the shop, it's a little bit harder every time you go, you know, every week, you know, that you go to the shop, it's getting a little bit harder, do you know what I mean? A little bit harder to eat your food as well. A little bit harder everywhere, you know. Your body's getting, you know, slower.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's kind of slowing down and stopping, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why all people need help, you know, because they can't do it anymore, you know. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and your energy sort of dies, I think, you know, as you get older until you ain't got any at all.
Yeah.
You know.
It's true.
You know, I appreciate, you know, at the moment I'm only 57.
Well, I think people should
Not
be
70.
a lot more people, especially older people. Sometimes you get people who are not appreciative, and it's just like if you were able to make it to your late 80s, 90s, or even to 100, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
You got to be appreciative of that, you know. and the fact that you were able to, that, you know, you had a decent life, quite a good life, you know.
Well, I bet, like, I mean, some people, right, at that age, say 90, some people are in pain and they don't appreciate another day, do you know what I mean?
No.
I mean, they appreciate it when they're quite happy to go, do you know what I mean?
Mm.
It's painful for some people to live, do you know what I mean, or be here.
Yeah.
You know, and they can't wait to go, some people, you know.
Yeah.
And they don't appreciate, I mean, you think about it, if you're in pain in any way, how can you appreciate life, you know?
Yeah.
You know, like if you've got a backache, for instance, you know, and you're in agony,
Yeah.
you know, and you can't enjoy the day, you know, so you can't really appreciate the day either, you know. So one thing I'm glad about in my life, I've never really been in pain much. You know, I've got the odd toothache, whatever, but otherwise I've not suffered from any pain.
Yeah.
And that is one thing a wise person avoids pain. By the way, you know, because you can't enjoy, you can't appreciate anything if you're in pain.
No.
You know, so that's one thing you've got to avoid, you know, make sure you look after yourself, do you know what I mean, and don't get run over or anything or whatever. You know, make sure you're comfortable in every way, you know, which I find, you know, making myself comfortable and warm is one of my most important things in life, you know. You know, but sometimes, you know, you can't keep yourself warm, you know, and you got to sort of realise it's not going to be forever. And when you know, it's like, for instance, when you, because I've done this, I went to the seaside with this girl that I met, and we stayed there for the night, and it was quite rough, let's put it that way, and a little bit cold, do you know what I mean? And the sea water was splashing on us and everything, you know, it was dark. I slept there for the night, whatever, you know, and we decided we couldn't stick it anymore, you know, like 5 o'clock in the morning, we decided to come home, you know, walk home, and it's still raining and that, you know, and I come home, and we both got home, whatever, and I just appreciate getting home. Do you know what I mean?
I can imagine.
That's what appreciation is, you know, getting home, put the fire on, and getting in my soft bed and thinking, wow, God, I appreciate it so much.
I mean, that's what I mean. So it's like, sometimes it takes certain things to make you appreciate it.
Exactly, you know. Have a rough night on the seaside, then you'll appreciate
being
life a little bit more.
Being at home in your bed in the comfort of being in the warmth and being comfortable. And,
with walls around you,
going
safe, on the wind.
Being safe and,
you know.
and sound and warm. And
I mean, that was the thing, so I can remember that night right now, you know, and it's really windy. And I can remember the cold wind sort of blowing on my face and my hair, everything, whatever. I can remember coming home sort of, you know, feeling a bit wet and cold and horrible, you know. So yeah, I did appreciate it, just getting home.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But it was a good memory.
So I say, you know, I'm just sort of.
It was a good memory, and you appreciate that you were able to do that and create that memory. If you see what I mean, you know.
Well, I'm glad that we did.
Because it was a memorable experience rather for both of you. You know?
Yeah. Exactly. So. You know, I'm glad that we did it. You know, because I did enjoy it. You know, it was an experience again.
Yeah.
You know, and as I say, as you said earlier on, you know, experiences is, you know, to go out and experience things is important.
Yeah.
In life, you know. You know, I don't think you're going to learn anything, do you? You know.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything in this world, you know. I appreciate that we've got a world.
Yeah.
You know.
Without it, none of this would exist, mate. We wouldn't be doing this here right now. You know what I mean? We won't be looking at, you know, we won't be doing our podcast here today right now. No. You know, none of this would be possible. No. You know, and I think people we forget to appreciate these things sometimes. You know, and it's like, you know, be grateful for the small things. You know, and what life has to offer. You know, and our own each individual experience. You know, we all have a different experience. You know, so make the most of it. You know,
well, I think this
appreciate the time you have, and understand that, you know, like we said last time, we already know life is short. Some people spend 1/3 of it asleep. Some people sleep 8 hours every night. Spend 1/3 of their 24 hours asleep. So in reality, you've got 12 hours. Then you've got to wake up, you've got to take a shower. You might need to go to the toilet. You need to eat throughout the day. You need to go to the toilet throughout the day. Whatever, you know, all sorts of different shit. Like, you know what I mean? And excuse me, the small little percentage of time that you actually do have, if you see what I mean, to do actually do exactly what you want, if you see what I mean, is small. That very small window of time. So it's learning to utilise that and appreciate that as well, if you see what I mean, you know, because, you know, we've all got shit to do. That's the reality in life. We've all got obligations. We all have to look after ourselves. We've all, you know, whatever, got to survive on a daily basis and keep going and look after our family members and kids and loved ones and wives and whatever.
I don't think we all got to look after ourselves. Like, if you're a royal person, you know, you got everyone looking after you.
Well, he still needs to take a bath.
Yeah, but they get a bath for him. Okay.
Yeah, I would hate
Some kings do.
Yeah, I'm sure. I would.
They get 10 women bathing them.
Yeah.
You know, if I was a king, I'd get 10 women bathing me. You know?
Yeah.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a quick bath though, because 10 of them washing you, mate. You'd be in and out of there in about, you know.
I'd be there for an hour. Also.
Yeah.
I'd have a 2-hour bath.
And a good long soak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great, you know, like 10 women bathing me for 2 hours. That'd be fantastic. That'd make my day. What an experience that'd be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
You'd
good
appreciate
thing.
that then.
Yeah, but that's the good thing about, you know, the imagination, for instance, you know, like, I can imagine, like, that happening, you know, so I can kind of experience it in a funny way.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite easy to imagine or dream.
Yeah.
Or something like that, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Fantasy.
Yeah, sometimes you can experience things, actually, by using your imagination.
Yeah,
You with me?
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
By taking it for a ride, basically. And I appreciate that as well, the imagination.
Yeah.
You know, I think the imagination, as I've said before, is one of the most amazing machines ever.
Yeah.
You know, and I think you got to appreciate that. You know, like animals don't really have much of an imagination. You think, you know, they're not painting.
No.
You know, or whatever, painting pictures and all this, and putting makeup on themselves and all this. You know, it's only us.
Yeah.
You know, and I think I just appreciate actually being a human, actually, and not being a pig or a chicken. I wouldn't want to be a chicken. You know.
The most popular bird in the world.
Yeah, but.
The most popular bird in the world.
Yeah, man-owned, I think, you know.
Probably man created, probably. Well, they did create it, didn't it? The chicken was created from the wild fowl and something else, didn't they? They used I can't remember what it is. The chicken was created from the wild fowl and something else. They crossed it with.
Well, maybe.
To create the chicken. But yeah, nonetheless, you know, it's the most popular bird in the world. And people appreciate chicken, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Hence why so many people make a lot of money off of selling chicken, especially fried chicken, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I appreciate not being born chicken. You know, you're basically born. I mean, we're not far from chickens, to be honest with you. The way the government treats us, right? They look at us like chickens. I think they do. Chickens that don't lay eggs. You know. I know we're not caged up like chickens are, but we are kind of like caged up.
Well, the society is controlled and dictated by these people.
I think so.
That's just the reality. The societal constructs in which we exist in is created by these people, and we all live in it, and we all abide by what's going on. if you see
Oh,
what I
no,
mean.
it's like that shutdown, you know. To be honest with you, I felt a bit like a chicken sometimes, especially when I was queuing outside the shopping market, you know, they had to do these like metal fences everywhere and cones sort of telling you to queue up this way and that.
I remember I made
felt like a cow.
I remember
do you know what
I made a
Like
video.
cattle.
I don't know if you remember seeing. I think I made a video one time when it first
Yeah.
happened. I don't know if I think I showed you the video.
Yeah.
And I was like, remember making this video, and I was like, mate, the world. I remember making this video, like talking out loud, like the world has gone bloody mad. Like, what the hell is going on? I remember going outside Morrison's, mate, and standing up like, and there's like 20 people ahead of me. You know what I mean? And like, it's only every 5 minutes you might get like 2 or 3 people coming in and out. Like you know what I mean? Every 5 minutes, you're standing there for like 15, 20 minutes, like just waiting to go in. And then when you get in, they say you know what I mean, the directions and shit.
Yeah.
And then you can only buy 2 items. Some things you can only buy 2 items and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is really, what is really going on, mate?
Yeah, well, I couldn't believe, right? They had little arrows.
Madness.
They had little arrows on the
Oh,
on sellotapes everywhere, right? Where go this way, go that way.
And it's crazy, mate. I've seen people with tape measures. You know, I've seen people wrapped up in like bubble suits and stuff. I've seen people come in the supermarket with rubber gloves on. You know, rubber gloves that you use to wash the dishes and shit. People like the marigolds and shit that people use to wash the dishes and shit. You know.
But well, we didn't see it all, I don't think.
You know, but it's some mate. I've seen some shit, mate, during the pandemic, mate. You know, you have people coming in, bloody, boxes over their head. Oh, people did some.
I'll tell you what, I'm glad. I mean,
did some funny shit.
Personally, yeah, I enjoyed the shutdown. I loved it.
Well, I was gonna say personally, I must say personally, it didn't really affect my life a great deal.
No, it didn't mind.
To be very honest, you know.
No, didn't mind at all. It made my life better,
You know?
actually, to be honest with you.
You know, it restricted me and my wife and kids from going out a bit. You know, if you get what I'm saying, that was a downside to it, I guess. But all the time that we did have together, we were still at home together, making the most of it. If you see what I mean, it's not like we, So
No, I liked it, myself. You know what I mean? But
and I was still able to, we were still able to get out to the shops and get our food, go food shopping and get your groceries. You might have to wait a bit, you might have to wait outside a bit longer or whatever. And yes, that's a bit of an inconvenience, especially if you're in a hurry, But yeah, it is what it is, and thankfully it's all that's finished now,
well, it might not be.
Might not be, mate. Might return.
Well,
Pandemic part 2.
yeah.
We'll have to make a tune called Pandemic.
Yeah. But it's not part 2 because Spanish flu.
Oh, I know. I'm just being silly.
People didn't. A lot of people don't know about it, but that was worldwide.
Oh yeah, definitely. Mm.
People were putting their mask on everywhere back then.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the first one.
No.
And it's like someone's got some sort of like control on everyone, and they can shut down.
Yeah.
And I think it's over the top.
Yeah.
I think they should have just warned people, keep separate, but don't shut down for goodness sake.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit too much.
I wish that I had owned one of these companies that produces masks.
Yeah.
And gloves.
I wish I invented them.
Gloves.
I wish I invented the gloves.
And all that type of shit, mate. You imagine all these people, these large companies, mate, that produce masks and gloves and other PPE.
You must be the richest man in the world.
Right now they must be minting it. They must be, extremely lucrative business the last 5 years,
Who invented the condoms, Rich?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, most definitely. And there's many different brands and companies of those things today too.
Can you imagine that? Like, you asked me, you said, how did you get rich? And I said, I made the condom.
Yeah. I had to experiment quite a few times to make sure it worked correctly, There were a few women who were impregnated by accident. the first few samples that we had of the condoms did not work.
Can you imagine though, if they didn't invent condoms, or rubber or whatever, they didn't invent it, and the pill,
Yeah.
how many people would be here today?
Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's like 7.5 billion or whatever today, right? But I think there'd be 14 billion today if we didn't have any condoms.
Oh, definitely. And pill and
Yeah.
and the pills and stuff.
And that war that we had, the First World
Mate,
War and Second World War.
And you know how many abortions take place worldwide every year too?
One thing.
That's what I'm saying, mate. So it's a huge amount. So
Yeah.
I remember even last year they said that there was a city in America, for example, that had more abortions that year than live births.
Crazy, isn't it?
If that makes sense. They had more abortions in that city, in this huge city, than actually live births, if you see what I mean. So that's just saying something, you know.
And millions and millions of people died in the First World War, you know.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
You know,
and the second.
Do you know what I mean?
And the second.
And I think like, wow, you know, like today we've got lots of people in the world, whatever, you know, do you know what I mean? But can you imagine if we didn't have condoms, alright? I mean, the thing is, alright, like when I was younger, my nan and granddad, alright, they had 7 children. My nan and granddad, you know what I mean?
Back then people used to have big families.
Yeah. 7 children, and I think like most people did that, you know, but like if you go back forever in time,
Had even bigger families.
they used to have like 10 or 12 children.
12 children.
A woman on an average lifespan would have 11, 10 children, do you know what I mean? Yeah. You know, and they wanted children in those days.
Oh, that's how it was, yeah.
It was sort of like a farmer.
Yeah.
You know, let your boy, do you know what I mean? Let your worker.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
They would all as they got older, they would all participate in helping look after the household and
But with the Industrial Revolution, all this sort of stuff and whatever, you know, and you know, we just sort of like, I can't remember what we're talking about.
Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, I can't remember what we were talking about before. Can you?
The condoms.
No, we weren't talking about that. That's ages ago. God, you really lost me now. Condoms. God. We were talking about, like, I was talking about big families.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. But like today, you know, like today on average, people are only having 1 child.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, I think it's cruel to even bring a child in this world today.
Well, in a funny way, yeah,
you
definitely.
know,
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard that old saying before, actually. You know, it's sort of like
Not another one, mate. Not usually.
No, it's not really an old saying, but it's just cruel. It's a cruel place to bring a child up in.
Yeah,
It's a wicked world, basically, you know, to bring a child up in, you know.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean,
that's what I think. You've got to educate your kids from young. If you've got children, you know, as soon as they get to a certain age, you've got to educate them about how the world works. You know, not in a scary way. You don't want to scare your kids and make them like fearful or anxious or whatever about the future or whatever. But you've got to do it in a way that you can explain to them about what life is really about. And if they want to have a good life when they're older, what they have to do. Because that's what it's all about. You know, you want to be able to earn a decent amount of money so you can work as little as you have to work, or as much as you want to work. You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing I instill. Like, even with my son now, he's almost 10 years old. And I say to him all the time, like, just make sure you focus on your education, because your education is gonna, you know. Obviously, it's for now as well because you're learning, but it's for the future as well. You know, it's when you leave school. You know, after that, then you need to determine what you're going to do with your life. And as long as you've got a decent education, you can pursue what you want, kind of thing. You know.
of course you can.
And I want him to, from a young age, as soon as he, whatever he wants to do, I'm going to push him. You know what I mean? I'm going to do whatever I need to do to support him and whatever else. You know, once he gets to that age and he can make those like decisions for himself, I'll support him 100%. But you know, yeah, you know.
I think the most important thing to learn as a young